Alive.
Okay.
There we
Now
go.
it's like
Yep.
accepted. I accepted. I am
Cool.
live.
Cool. We are
Hello.
live. Hello, everyone. Today, I'm talking with Dana about Children and Children's Day. And I'm really looking forward to this because this sounds like fun. So, do you want to introduce yourself a little bit?
Oh, yes. My name is Dana Palcu. I'm Romanian, but I've been living in Italy for the last almost 20 years. So I can say, I'm half Italian, maybe half of my life, almost half of my life was in Italy. Yeah. And I'm a coach as Diana. I'm an insight coach. I'm an energy healer. And I used to work in the cinema. So many things. I've done many things in my life.
Cool. That's cool. So, as we talked about a bit earlier, today is Children's Day. And I wasn't even aware of that, which is also quite fascinating because I do have children.
Yeah.
And so we looked at a couple of things up and we saw that one of the things is that in former communist countries, it's celebrated quite widely on the 1st of June. But what we also found is that the, what was it again? The UN, they declared in the Declaration of the Rights of the Child on the 20th of November 1959 that there would be a Children's Day celebrated on the 20th. Now, many countries have very different views on that, so things go very different in a lot of different countries. And I know that, for instance, in England, where I live, it's officially, let me look it up, done on a weekend in the summer so that children can go outside. So this year it was on the 15th of May. Now, I wasn't even aware of that. I didn't see anything about it, but,
yeah.
But in some areas they will definitely celebrate it. So that's actually a nice thing to make it in nice weather day because, the 20th of November in the UK might not be so nice.
So happy.
So, it's kind of cold and wet then, so children won't be having so much fun. So that was definitely a good choice to make it a day in summer. And this has gotten me curious. How does that get celebrated in Romania? Because you did celebrate it.
Yes, absolutely. In Romania, it's a big holiday. I don't know since when it became a national holiday, 1st of June. So the Romanian are taking very seriously celebrating their children. And now they off to school and there are many things organized, during the day for the children. Nice. And so the parents will be free from work so they can stay home with their children and celebrate. But when I was a child, and by the way, I grew up in the communist era, and the 1st of June was always celebrated by, sport competitions, lots of cultural thing, dancing and,
Yeah.
Many of them, they were really communist as, basic singing or whatever. But the kids, I have to say, the kids, most of the kids will have fun in that day because, they were aware, it's their day. And, when you are a child, you're not aware about the nasty side of the communist era.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I love that about children. Then they can have fun in whatever condition they were living.
Yeah, I've seen some videos of children in very poor areas where they only barely had enough to eat, and still they had a good time. Still they were playing with balls. Still they were doing all sorts of stuff and laughing with each other. The moment it gets worse than that, then children don't have much fun anymore either. But it's just fascinating that how much children can live in the moment in comparison to what adults do. And I have a grandchild, so I see that a lot, that she lives so much more in the moment. And so does my dog, to be fair, because he doesn't care much. As long as he's fed, he's happy.
Yeah, they live in the present moment and they live happily and with joy. So we came with that kind of quality of living in a present moment and with joy. And kind of, growing up, we kind of lose that type of quality. And sometimes we remember it, but not all the time. The children, like actually, I've been to Africa. I've been to Niger, which is one of the most...
That's a poor area.
The poor country. And I was amazed. The children will play like any other children in the world. They will just go around and do their things. And we can imagine they were like crying in an angle as the photos or like dying. It's true that kids are dying of hunger. That's also true. But even in the poorest country, the children would do what the children do all the time. They will play and they will try to have fun.
Yeah. I think that is a very, very important thing in life, to find the joy in the moments that you have. Because one of the things I find a lot of things that Buddha has said really interesting. And one of them was, and I probably butchered the whole thing, but this is how it came across to me, is that we suffer. Why do we suffer? Because we are worried that this moment that we are having a good time now is going to stop. So we're always worried about what's next instead of live right now and have a good time. And when can you live? Actually, only right now. There's no way you're living tomorrow. And 5 minutes from now or 5 minutes ago, I'm not there. I'm right here with you right now. That's the only time I can live and make the most of it. So be in the present moment, as children and my dog do. He's now laying there sleeping, having a good time, snoring away a bit. I hope nobody hears it. But yeah, that's just it makes life so much more relaxed when you don't worry about what next year will bring.
Absolutely, absolutely.
What can we do about it? Not an awful lot.
Yeah, so we can just observe children and dogs and cats and see how they do it, and then try to unlearn how to worry, how to create anxiety.
Yes, because that's how Buddha did put it, that you create your suffering from your thinking.
Absolutely. So your mind, the cheeky mind.
Yeah. Oh, my mind can go anywhere, honestly. It really has a life of its own at times. And then that was an interesting story. And the moment I can take that step back and see that it was an interesting story, it's okay. Sometimes I would say, maybe I should just write all these stories down because they're not going to happen. But then at least someone can have fun with it.
Absolutely. They're just stories. Yeah, absolutely. So the idea of, I had once, I don't know if it's a meditation or just, I had this being, I don't know, it was my soul, who seems a kind of someone very relaxed, doing the nails. So that's, and she or he, I can't have a gender. So why don't you just have fun? So why you worry? And I said, oh, but then how can I get things done if I don't worry? Because this is what we learn. We learn that in order to get things done, we need to worry, we need to process. So how can we unlearn that way and just be joyous?
One of my friends was talking about him doing the dish. He's actually quite a successful businessman, but is also into personal development and meditation. And one of his joys of the day is doing the last bit of dishes by hand in the evening on his own in the kitchen, because then he can be in the present moment, see the joy of the dishes getting clean, and then drying them and putting them away, and then looking at what he's done. So he's not worried about it. He just has this thing, this looks so good. And he closes the kitchen door and locks it, because he lives where he lives. That's what you do. I don't know. But yeah, then he locks it for the night and goes to bed. And just him describing that joy, I just think a lot of people would worry about their kitchen not being tidy enough. It's not something he worries about. He doesn't worry about his business anymore either. The more he can get into that chill place, the better his business is going, which he also found really fascinating. It's been, I've known him for years now, and it's been really fascinating talking with him about his journey into having more fun in life and being more at peace with himself.
Absolutely. By the way,
this kitchen bit.
I love I think that's the only piece of things, the chores I will really enjoy, the washing dishes. I like to feel the water on my hands, and that kind of put me in the live in the present moment.
Yes, that's what it does for him as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a type of meditation I like.
Yeah. I get that.
movement
Yeah.
and meditation. So,
Yeah.
but you know, people can do all the things that we call unpleasant, and you know,
Yeah.
sometimes not easy to get. Okay, how can I make this unpleasant action? How can I switch it and look at it? How can I transform it into be maybe at the beginning you can't make it something, oh, this is so fun, but just try to live the moment. What else can it, what can that action bring you if you are aware of present what you're doing?
It can bring that something. It's just much more fun to do. And that actually, when you were just talking, that reminded me of a part of the book, The Continuum Concept. I don't know whether you've read it, but it's by Jean Liedloff, and she's visiting the Equana in South America with a team of partially, I think, Italian anthropologists. And then they go with canoes through the area. And then at some point, they need to take a canoe up on a mountain, a hill, I don't know how high. And then the Equana people, they just take it and it bashes into their legs and everything. And they ended up with bruises and cuts and all sorts, but they just have a good time. They're singing, they're doing, because they're just in the present moment. But the Western anthropologists, they ended up cursing and angry whenever that boat hit their leg. And then these Equana had to say, they didn't understand, because they got to do this. They did something special. So it was not to like, a couple of cuts and bruises happen whenever. But no, we Westerners have a bit of a different view on that kind of stuff, clearly, because everything seems to be hard work and difficult. So we are suffering an awful lot. But that book was really fascinating, because she's explaining the whole journey that she did with these anthropologists. But with that, she also talks about how children were raised there. Children had a ton of freedom. They weren't really parenting or anything. So it was more about mom keeps a bit of an eye on the child when it's really young, but they don't stop a child from going near the fire or getting whatever sharp object or anything. There's nothing like that. Children go swimming together in whatever river they have near there. So children live their children's lives, and the parents, they live their own lives. They still, they do the adult things they need to do, but they have fun doing the adult things while the children have fun doing the children's things. So I learned a lot about parenting from that book, to be fair. And I've kind of given my kids that kind of freedom within the constraints of the Western world that we live in. And it's served them quite well.
Well done, Diana. I'm happy you did so.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of people doing it.
Yeah, well, absolutely. That's I think that's brilliant. And well, how can we take that joy that children have and really anchor it in our life? What can we do to do so?
I think reflecting on whether our worries are getting us anywhere other than feeling bad. Well, I found in my life that the more I reflected on how much I was worrying, the more I realized, well, no, it's ruining my moment, but it's not actually fixing my problem. So just seeing that problem more as a project instead of a problem did help, because what can I do right now to create something that whatever I think is a problem or worry about won't happen that way? Well, there's plenty of things you can do at the moment, and then find the joy in doing the projects. And for me, that's worked. What have you done?
Find the joy in getting messy.
That is a good one. Yes. Well, obviously it's going to get messy, because when I start doing stuff, it's never going to get tidier.
I think for me, it worked, and that comes from my spiritual path, that if I'm doing everything I do, I can put it in the way, not I have to do it, because then you have to do it, because I'm doing it, I need to eat. So I'm concentrating on eating because my body needs food. So I'm really aware, okay, my body needs food. So I'm happy to give my body food. And so this is why I cook, so I can give my body a healthy food. So if you are aware of, you switch the perspective, so I don't have to do it. I choose to do it because So in this way, sometimes, because sometimes we, as sometimes cooking is not as fun, especially if you cook lunch and dinner. After a while, you get tired and you don't have any ideas. So that can become, I have to do it.
Yeah.
But in the moment I switch it, my body needs food, because this is how the human body works. It works with food.
Yeah.
And then how can I satisfy that body needs with love? So I know I need to cook a healthy food. I have to give it fruit or whatever I feel like I like to do it. So that's just the switch of it's just another perspective.
Yeah, it is. It's I think that's how the project thing for me works, because then it's something I get to do and I can have fun with it, instead of that it looks like something difficult. Because I have had a phase in my life where I really didn't want to cook food anymore. I didn't want to clean anymore. Didn't want to do anything like that anymore. But then I had a bit of a change of heart at some point, because I like eating good food. I like eating tasty food that really works for my body. So healthy and tasty is really my thing. So then I was saying, well, actually, I get to do this, because then I also realized that, I have people that I know that live in countries where things are less good. And for me, it's really easily accessible. So I can be grateful for the fact that I can buy the ingredients that I want, that come from all over the globe, to be honest, and just make that food that I really enjoy. And then there was the other thing with, cleaning. I really didn't want to do that for a while anymore, but then realized, well, I do really like the way it looks when it's done. I feel really satisfied. I can have that feeling quite regularly when I don't let it get out of hand, but do it quite regularly, then I can feel really grateful and satisfied. And that was an interesting thing as well, to just have this, he's woken up, have the good feelings almost every day. It was really nice. I think the postman arrived.
Okay.
Yeah, because I hear the neighbor dogs as well.
Okay.
All the dogs in the neighborhood know when the postman arrives, and that is frequently.
And they have to communicate.
They have to tell each other, obviously.
Yes, obviously. Yeah.
It's funny, but yeah, and he's having fun with it. So it's the same.
Yes, he's having fun communicating. The postman arrived. Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny because he can't even see it, but clearly he has to make sure the rest of them know as well.
They feel it.
Oh, it's really funny because we have at the beginning of the road, where one or two dogs are very quickly responding the moment the postman comes, and the moment the postman walks by there, it increases, and then the postman walks all over the neighborhood, and then you can just hear where the postman is. It's really funny.
I think they smell it, or that's a way of,
I wonder whether they bark slightly different. I've no idea, but yeah, because it's always a different postman. They're not always the same cars either that they come with. So we have about 4 different people coming here. So I don't know.
He knows them all.
I think so, but he's literally laying here in the room. He can't see anything. He can't see outside or anything, but he picked up on the track, I guess. It's really interesting. When you sit in the garden, you can literally hear where the postman is. So, yeah, it's funny. Anyway, back to children.
Yeah, back to children and their joy. And so what I like is, about the children, even they have hardship, a child fell down, cried for 2 seconds, and they went back.
Yeah, they do. If we wouldn't do that, we wouldn't all be walking. Because we will fall while trying.
Yeah, so that's another thing that I love, okay, I'm sad for a moment, I'm suffering, I'm in pain, and then I'll go back to playing.
Yeah, because the pain tends to not last very long when you just give it some moment to feel it. Because then that's one thing I've realized when I tried to really feel it, because a child frequently is really focused on the pain, but then very quickly, because you don't have that full happening at that time anymore, it starts to fade. So the pain becomes quite quickly quite a lot less, and then you can continue again. And I think that's probably with emotional suffering as well. The moment it's when it happens is the worst. But then the pain keeps sitting there because you keep thinking about it. But the moment you start to have this thing, well, I can do something else. I can make it nicer. And that's with physical and emotional pain, I think. The moment it happens is the worst. And then once it fades, we can move on.
Absolutely. And depends on where we put our attention, because the
Mhm.
child will immediately see something, oh, that sounds fun.
Yep.
And that, okay, that's gone. I don't
Yep.
care about my knees.
Yep.
So yeah, so because they got, oh, something's fun. So
Yep.
yeah, that's could be a good idea, whenever
Mhm.
we surprise, observe ourselves concentrating on the pain or suffering. Oh, what else I can concentrate on?
Yes.
So it's
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, and that's what I've practiced myself with thoughts. When I have negative thoughts, I can concentrate on those, but I can also try to find what can I do. So I have, some music that I could play that will make me happier. There's, going to one of my kids, having a conversation with them, not about the topic that's on my mind, but something that's fun. Or, there's so many different things I can do. Take the dog for a walk,
Yeah,
and the suffering goes, because I'm just looking for something else that can take my mind off that, or just talking to someone online. There's so many things I can do, and it all helps.
absolutely.
And
Yeah.
it's really changed.
That's really changed your thoughts.
Yeah.
And sometimes, as Tony Robbins teaches us, that by changing the physiology,
Yep.
your emotional status will change.
Yeah.
You just jump.
Yeah.
Just jump and just dance.
One of the coaches I worked with a couple of years ago, he explained it in a really interesting way to me, and I'll never forget that, because it's really funny, because last month he and I talked about it. He'd actually forgotten how he'd explained it to me, which was really cool as well. But he had this thing: negative thoughts are like a begging dog next to you. With the begging dog, you choose whether you give it attention or not. Negative thoughts are the same way. You choose whether to give it attention and feed it, or you choose to ignore it. And the more you feed that begging dog next to you, the more it will sit there begging for more attention. Same with the negative thoughts. The more you feed them, the more they will pop up. Yeah, that begging will come then. So the less attention you pay to them, the less frequently they're going to pop up, because in your brain you have this part of, what wires together fires together, or no, what fires together wires together. Yeah, when you start using certain thoughts all the time, they keep popping up. But when you don't anymore, you start using other thoughts, and that keeps popping up, and these bits in your brain become stronger. Yeah, that's
absolutely. Yeah. So our mind is a bit of a begging dog.
It basically is. And when he explained that to me, it made total sense to me. I think he's moved on from that one in the meantime.
Absolutely. So
yeah, this thing is such a good reminder.
Yeah, it's a good reminder, because we know who has a dog. I have a dog. And the minute you start giving food at the table, they will always come.
Sit there.
Always sit there and beg for more food.
Yeah.
But if you train them not to come there, or if you just once in a while give them some food, that's fine. Yeah, so that's the mind works exactly like a dog. So we can just imagine we have a dog there, a doggy there.
Yeah, it was, what the really cool thing was at that conversation, my dog was literally sitting next to me asking for attention. And I had this thing of, this just makes so much sense to me now.
That was a sign.
Oh yeah,
the dog sign.
It definitely was. He was sitting there while the coach was telling me, and I thought, wow, yeah, no, I get it. It was one of those very enlightening moments.
Yeah, I love the begging dog metaphor for,
It was a good one for me. Right. How long have we been talking? I have no idea.
Yeah.
Probably long enough.
Like chatter. we like to chat. This is what we do for work.
Yeah. And we have a good time while at it.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. All right.
Well,
this was it for today.
Yeah.
I hope you guys found it really interesting. Let me know what you think. Give some comments and
enjoy the International Children's Day from the communist time. So enjoy that and feel, let's have fun as a child, at least for 5 minutes today.
Yeah, well, just we can do more than 5 minutes, I think. We've already done 5 minutes.
Well, we've done more than 5 minutes, but
Yeah. Okay.
Okay,
let's
Diana.
do it.
Okay. Diana. Okay, Diana. Thank you.
Okay, Diana. Thank you. See you next time. Bye-bye.